and we're going to be in the next month moving everyone from Facebook onto this amazing app where only our tribe will be, and there's all the different levels of intuition or certification or masterclass or just the recode, and there's groups and chat box. It's just going to be amazing. So I've just been in getting the introductory videos going, and we think within the next couple of weeks we'll have a beta test group of some of you coming and helping us iron out some of the expected um, speed bumps, I guess, until we get it perfect, and then releasing it on everyone else. And then we can finally be rid of this Facebook hangover, which would be so good, so good. So I love being in creation. It's like this group, that app, the book that I've written, like that was not there before. That not there before, and it's so cool, isn't it? Like to create and to know yourself as a creator, where when there's something that wasn't there, and then it's there, and turning that invisible idea into something physical. I think it's very cool. This is the beginning. So I'm not sure. I didn't catch the name. Someone said, "This is the beginning." No, this is the beginning. I'm just having a pre-chat while everyone settles in, and give them a few minutes to be here. It's so fun to be in creation, and what's interesting about creation, it's kind of like driving along a dark highway. You can really only see what your lights can see in front of you. But as soon as you drive into that bit that you can see, the next thing appears. It's quite like that. You're like driving, and it just sort of becomes obvious what's there next. But if you turn your lights off, you're in darkness, and that's it's a really good metaphor for creating, isn't it? You don't really know how it's going to pan out. You kind of know where you're going, don't you? You're like, I'm going to create the most revolutionary, human transformational program on the planet, and we're going to impact 50 million people, and so we know where we're driving to. But we can only see sort of like the next sort of month or 2 or 3 months ahead. That's all that's obvious. And it's very fun. It's very fun. So anyway, that's what I've been up to this morning, and being a part of this with all of you is beautiful. So we've had some pretty amazing testimonials coming this week. It's been amazing to watch all you guys get out there and create and magnetically pull in your future, become the magnet. And it's obvious to me to really talk to that a little bit this morning. This morning for me, this evening for many of you, about what that magnet is, and just for a minute, just think about a black hole, that pulls everything to it, pulls everything into it, and the power of that, like a plug. You pull the plug out of a sink, and the water is draining down the hole. That's the vortex. That's the spin. That's the spin of how things come to you. And it's fun to think about it like that. However, at the same time, as you're the magnet, you're pulled to certain actions. Does that mean you're pulled to do certain things, because the field can only move as much as you're moving to it. It's like that elastic band where we both move. So it's very important that when you're tuning into what it is that you want to create, you are it. It's there. It's alive. You are already it. And it just takes a while for things to form in physical reality. And the patience between uh, knowing the creation and it forming is the thing that can stop people the most, isn't it? That lag time. Hey Patrick, hey everybody, good to see you all piling in. And so I wanted to start off by talking about the inevitable. The inevitable. What is inevitable? What is going to happen? What is inevitable? What is just going to happen? No matter what. What is just going to happen? Well, that's true, Patrick. It wasn't on top of my mind, but that is true. But it's inevitable. So when I think about my choices, I know they're going to happen. I know. I don't know when. I don't really know how, but I know. I know. And the reason why I know is because I'm using both sides of creation. I'm using both masculine and feminine. So I know it's going to happen. I know. I'm using my will, my power, my action, my focus, my choice. I'm using the masculine. And I'm also using the feminine, the grace, the nurturing, the release, the surrender, the allowing, the allowing to be supported, the supporting others, the patience. I'm allowing that. And when you're in that, every single one of your choices is inevitable. And just think about that. It's going to happen. If you got a choice and you're tuned into it, if you are you are it, you become it, you're it. And we're going to talk about the it a bit today. I already put my notes up. I'm ready to go. You already are it. You are it. And then you're taking the obvious action, and you're in a feedback system where you're noticing what that action is doing, and then you're releasing it, and then you're taking the action, and you're releasing it, and you're nurturing, and you're doing it. It's simply inevitable it will happen. Is that true? It's just there's no other possibility. You already are it. You're moving towards it. There's no other option. True. There really isn't. But how many of you still think that there's another option? You see, we've still got that worry or that concern, don't we? We still think, well, it might not happen, and that's an interesting thing, isn't it? It's like, why do I bother with that? If we go meta and we ask ourselves, why do I bother putting any focus on that? It won't happen. Well, where did that come from, and who taught me that? It's an interesting thing. It's like when you choose it, when you become it, when you take action towards it, it's going to happen. But there's that other aspect of us, isn't there? Isn't it true? There's this other aspect of us that says, but what if you're not good enough? Or, what if you're not smart enough? Oh, what if they all just reject you? What if you're wrong? Isn't it? We can't deny. None of us are going to say, no, we're always like, yeah, just feel it's it. I just take action. It would be fun to be like that, wouldn't it? So I choose it, I take action, I go for it. But it's just true that we have this other part of us. Anyway, I feel like we're all here, ready to have a good session. Welcome everyone. Do we have any new people on? Is anyone new? Welcome if you're new. Welcome. We have lots of sessions like this, and I truly recommend doing the introductory program in the masterclass Kajabi, and using the support email if you need any help. Welcome, Sarah. Welcome to your first live. There are many places you can ask for help, and then there's the best place. There's many places to ask, but there's the best place, and the best place is via email. So the support email is the best. And the reason why it's the best is because that's when you'll get the person who's there. We have nearly 24/7 support for you guys. You have the person who's there, who knows what programs, can reset your passwords, can give you information, that they're there, they can call you. Versus if you try to Facebook inbox myself or Rochelle or others, it's just not the right person you're going to. So if someone would post that support email, then that'd be great. We really do appreciate you and want to make sure you get it. So today I've got lots to talk about, lots to go through, and we're going to do a process that's not going to be recode today. It's going to be different, which will be fun. So what's obvious to me is that many of us are still wanting to learn more about the problem reality. Hey Chris, well, what about if I break my arm? I mean, I got to fix that, true? Or if I have an illness, I do want to fix that illness. So how do I? So what do you mean I'm not allowed to think it would be better when? Because honestly, it will be better when my arm is fixed, right? Like, let's say someone breaks their arm. Hey, we all must admit their life will be significantly better if that arm was not broken. True. So they say, no, there's actually something broken, and my life will be better when it is. But we would all have to agree with that, wouldn't we? We would have to say, that's nearly the right email, Reba. It's actually support at consciouseducationcompany.com. But thank you. Would someone please make sure we type in the correct one? So thanks, Esther. Yeah, it's Conscious Education Company. Thanks, Kim. Thanks. Just want to make sure you get the right email. You can send assist one as well, Lisa. Either's one. What was I talking about? Okay, so here's the thing: is the idea that you deny yourself living in the moment. That's the key, is that you've given yourself an excuse to not live in the moment. Absolutely, your arm's going to heal. Absolutely, hey? Absolutely, you give your body the right instructions, it's going to create the body that's in alignment with who you are. But what's interesting to me is people aren't living longer. They're dying longer. They stop living at about age 11 or 12, and they just die for longer because they're so focused on not being sick or not having enough money. They're not actually living. They're so worried about losing something that they're not even using. And so they get a broken arm or they get a diagnosis, and that just becomes another excuse about why they're not living. Does this make sense? They're not living. They say it's because, and so what are some of the excuses we give about why we're not living? I'm not living because my legs don't work well. I'm not living because I just need to have better skin. I'm not living because I've got too much weight on my body. I'm not living because I'm single. I'm not living because I've got, I'm a single parent with children. I'm not living because, you see that? I'm not living because I don't have enough money. I'm not living because, you see that? And what they do is every time that they say, I'm not living because, that they misappropriate the power to that thing. And it feels good. It feels good. Because when there is something that is not you that's stopping you, then it's not you. You see? And the ego goes, yeah, it's not me. I'm not to blame. And it can push it away. True, it pushes it away. So it feels better to say, oh, it's that. It's that. And so they say, and so then they focus their whole life on trying to remove, overcome, or fix that thing that they believe is stopping them having a life they love. Does that make sense? They say, this is the problem. This is it. And so their whole life becomes about that. And you meet people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and yeah, I've had this lifelong problem with health. Okay, great. So how's life? Oh, well, I can't really do anything because of this. And how long's that been? Oh, it's been like that for 30 years. Well, when are you going to use the health you've actually got? When are you actually going to use the time you've actually got? Instead of, so that just everyone get this, they're not living. They're so scared of losing something they're not even using. They're not living. And by living, I mean in their heart going for their truest expression, their truth. They're too busy saying, when I have the money, when I have this, or I don't want to do that because I might be rejected, or they're too busy doing other things. And so the key is that it's inevitable what will happen. If someone focuses on the reasons why they can't live true and happy now, what's inevitable is they've given the power to that thing. And then what's inevitable is that will get the power, and that will never, ever, ever leave. That's what I mean when I say you can't be problem solving. You must be it now. You must live full now. And yes, you're living full, and you would like your arm to be healed, in my example. Does that mean you would still prefer that, wouldn't you? But that's not stopping you having a great day. See, one thing we can truly acknowledge is we all have the power to create the life we choose. And as we're doing that, there is going to be some tough days, because we live in a co-created experience, don't we? We simply don't want it to be, this completely rigid, completely controlled, ordered situation. We enjoy, that there's things that we need to overcome and achieve and be. So if you want it to be completely, control, that's not a reality you want. It's like that Pleasantville movie, where everything's just so pleasant, but no one's happy because there's nothing about it. And so that's what's inevitable. The power of the inevitable. Here's what's inevitable. If you put the power in you, if you start living true to your heart now, if you start creating a life you love now in spite of anything that is going on, in spite of it all, in spite of it all, you choose, you make the conscious decision right now that you are going to live those core four. You say, I'm going to love my life. And you do that. And some days are harder than others to keep to that. I promise you what's inevitable is that you end up with a life you love. And isn't that the biggest success of all? Isn't it? What could be a higher success than a life you love? Just think about that for a second. I mean, maybe you could say helping others have a life they love, but simply wouldn't that create your life you love? Like what's a higher ideal? What's more meaning? Obviously there'd be a lot of meaning in a life you love. Create meaning, and meaning is an interesting thing. It is hard to discover a meaning, but it's part of it. If we truly sit in that, what is inevitable? You truly go, I'm going to love my day today, in spite, because guess what? You might create a super successful business. You still have to do your tax. You still have, you create a super successful business. Everything's going great. You rely on people. They quit. Right? You still, doesn't matter how much you do. Your body is slowly using itself up. You are going to have health challenges that you have to overcome. True, we all know death is inevitable too, right? So those things are going to have to happen. It's inevitable a loved one's going to get injured, and it's inevitable someone you love will die. That's all part of it, isn't it? Isn't it? Like we can't say, oh, that's okay. It's inevitable that you'll bump into other people's creations that might look like destruction to you. That's all part of it. But if you want to create that top thing, it's simply a choice, and it's not a choice that means that you get to avoid somehow normal stuff, life. It's just inevitable that if you give the power to the reason, to the condition that must be completed, that condition will always own you. Or the absence of that condition will always own you. Until you, in spite of your health diagnosis, choose to be happy and fulfilled and loving life now, in spite of it, until you do that, that thing will always have the power over you. But as soon as you choose it, you're happy anyway, magic happens. It no longer has the power over you, and then what's magic is as I've seen, is the more that you give your body life affirming, lower stress signals, happy, the magic happens. The more you stay in stress of this thing that's in the way, the more you give the opposite signals to your body and creates more stress. So it's quite funny, this power of where you're focused. The power of where you're focused. Are you focused on how you have it all, or are you focused that there's something you must have in order to have it? And many of us in this crazy world that we're in right now, what are we focused on? How we don't have enough money to truly have a life we love. It's complete rubbish. It really is. We know that, and we know it. We look at people who are famous and have heaps of money and things, and we know they're not any more significantly happy than us. We all do know that, right? And we know in our truth that it's not there. So we are preoccupied with this thing that must be solved in order to have the life we love, rather than sitting and having a life we love. Is it true? As a group, if you put a ring around our culture, that is our preoccupation. So I drew this up because I want to talk about good and bad. So when we live down here in the self-conscious, we live in the world of good and bad. That there's things that are good and there's things that are bad. Okay? And so what are some things that we think are good? We say, having lots of money is good. Being healthy is good. Being loved by others is good. Having friends is good. Laughing, enjoying my day, that is good. And so then what do we say is bad? Well, the opposite of that, being lonely, no one loving us, being broke, being ill health, being sad. You see? And we make this up. We make this up. See, when we become self-conscious, we make up this idea of what is good and what is bad. And I want you just to think about this for a second. Well, actually, for a couple minutes, to be precise. What was good? What is good and what is bad to you? Really, like maybe look at your childhood or look at where you are now. What is good? What is bad? What signifies being good and what is not good? I think it's a very important thing to consider. What is good? Doing right by others, yeah, being polite, being honest. This is good. So lying, being disrespectful, that's bad. Yeah, I'd say that's right. Being successful without hurting others, that is good. Being successful hurting others, bad. And we can good, giving to others, bad, taking. So we start to see this. Hey, what is good, and what is bad. Someone says the sun is always good. Not for me. About 5 minutes of sun, and it's quite funny. I went and had a naturopath do all my blood work last week. I have 3 times the level of vitamin D than the average person, and she's like, "You're not taking a vitamin D supplement?" I'm like, "No, I've just got very fair skin and I play tennis every day in the sun." I have 3 times. She's like, "Yeah, that's a lot." I'm like, "No, that's really good though." So we have this idea of what is good and what is bad, you see. And so someone there just said, "Well, the sun is always good," but that's our self-conscious going. That's how good is and that's how bad is. Now, what's interesting is when you move to the superconscious, when you become it, there is no good and no bad. It's the fulcrum. Okay, so down here's the pendulum swing, and everything's at a different level of goodness or badness. Think about that. Goodness and badness is the same thing. It's just different degrees of it. When does something go from bad to good? And can it ever be one or the other? It always depends on the perspective as well, doesn't it? But it's like hot and cold. When does it turn from hot and cold? Well, like what moment? If you'd ask my wife, like hot, so her cold is my steaming hot. She has a shower, she leaves it on, she goes, "You can jump in." I jump in the shower. I'm like, how does your skin even handle that heat? It's like melting me a bit. So her cold is my boiling. So it's a perspective, isn't it? Is there's this when is rich? If we put rich and poor, when does that happen? It also depends where in the world you live. You live in Sydney, Australia, with some of the most insane house prices. You need a lot more to be rich than even if you live here on the Gold Coast, or you live in New Zealand, or you live in other parts of the world. You need a lot more, a lot more. So it depends, doesn't it? It depends. And so our self-conscious has made up this idea of good and bad, and it lives in this world. And what's interesting about that is we create so much chaos when we're trying to when we live here. There's certain things that certain conditions and circumstances that you're not allowed to have. They are bad. They are wrong. Like you're just not. You've decided you can't have that. That's not allowed. And here's the key: if there's anything you couldn't experience, that actually owns you. I remember talking with Scott Weddle, my business partner in our marketing company. This was years ago, and I was coaching him, and he was an entrepreneur, and he still is an entrepreneur. And I noticed he had this humongous idea that having a job was bad. And I said to him, "Go get a job. You need to go get a job." And bear in mind, he'd paid me at that point, thousands and thousands of dollars to be his business coach. And there I am saying, what you need to do is go get a job. And I was showing him just how much resistance he had to this. And he had so much resistance to get a job. I said, what's so wrong with having a job? And he told me, well, you're trapped and you can't get anywhere. I said, well, but there's great jobs out there. Why is being an entrepreneur so different to that? And it really was an interesting coaching point because there's not that much difference. I mean, you still have to show up to work. The only difference is if you're an entrepreneur, you're your own boss, which is sometimes more stressful than having a job. Like you're still going to get paid. Entrepreneur doesn't guarantee you're going to get paid. There's downsides of it, So it's really interesting when you start to ask yourself, why is that so bad? Why have I decided that is bad? Because whatever you've decided is good and bad owns you. Many people that I talk to, illness is bad. Illness is bad. It's bad. I can't be sick. They're constantly sick. I can't be sick though. You've got to fix the sickness. They say to me, I can't live unless I'm not sick. It's rubbish, isn't it? I can't have what I want unless I'm not sick. It's rubbish. See, from the superconscious perspective, even illness isn't bad. Even illness isn't bad because from the superconscious perspective, when you're it places a higher priority on using the body vessel you've been given than holding on to a body vessel. And I want to use the word body vessel so we realize that the body is holding our consciousness. The superconscious has a higher priority that you're using the body vessel to live your fullest expression than you try to keep something. See, it knows that there's a limited time that this combination of flesh and bones and hydrogen atoms and carbon atoms, there's a limited time that it will be here. It knows that for sure, and so it places a higher priority on you using it. And it says, well, if you're not going to be if you're not happy, if you're not using it, we're just going to match how you feel. We're just going to match it. And so that's very interesting. The superconscious isn't that concerned. They go, oh, you want to have an amazing body? Cool, here it is. And what I mean by that is that your body is so great at adapting to what it is that it needs to be doing. So if you feed it stress and scared and stress and scared and stress and scared, it's too busy trying to focus on what it's stressed and scared about to heal. But what if you're stressed and scared about the thing you want to heal? When you go into a stress situation, when you go into, I can't have that, your body is so busy dealing with this threat. You see, it actually has a threat. We're going to go for a war on certain diagnosis, and we're going to go to war on it. Oh, well, that's stress. When you go into a war on something, you don't have time for healing. You don't have time for recreation, true? You're too busy to go into a war. Well, that's how some people's lives are set up. They go, well, why is my body just keep on fighting me? Because you're fighting it, you see. And what are you doing? You've decided that something's bad. So an example of how quickly the body adjusts to what you want it to do is about in December, I got this amazing spin bike. And, it's a spin bike, and there's a, it's kind of like Peloton. For those of you who know what Peloton bike is, there's a big screen, and you race other people on this bike. Anyway, I was able to get a certain number when I started, and I was exhausted. Like when I finished, I was like, I had to go for a walk, and like I was just done, done. I melted on the bike. Anyway, over the 4 months of continually, telling my body that this is what I want to do and be a part of, I'm now like 40% ahead of my personal best from December. 40, and in December, most of you knew me then too. I was not mucking around. I was doing everything I could. 40% better. That's huge. 40% only because it's in the end result of getting better. Does that make sense? In the end result. I wasn't worried about good or bad. I was just going for it. And that's the same, hey? It's a big deal when you realize how much your body can improve. I don't think we give it enough credit. At about age 11 or 12, it completely reorganizes, especially in women. The body goes, right, now it's time to reorganize all these sort of things that are going on and become an adult. And it starts reorganizing, and by 14 to 16, it's now basically a completely different organism, which is quite wild to think about. So anyway, you have this self-conscious version of you, and it lives in good and bad. It lives in good and bad. Does that make sense? It lives in good and bad. If you live in good and bad, you're always going to live, the pendulum swing. True? You'll always be there. You're always fighting something, trying to get somewhere, and giving power to two ends. And when you give power to two ends or one end of something, all you do is push the swing one way and it pushes back. Okay, so we must drop that. We don't need to fix it. We just need to drop that. You must drop the orientation to this is good and this is bad, and it just must be what it is. When you be it, when you rise up, when you rise from the lead, the lower vibration, to the gold, from the limited to the infinite, you become it. And when you're it, you simply are a superconductor. You don't mind. You can still love your life in sickness and health. You can love it in rich and poor. You're just going to choose to love your life. And as soon as you do that, you bring all the power back to you. As soon as you're not living in this is good and this is bad, and that I already am it, I already have it, I'm already there, and I'm already super conscious, you don't see this weird playing field either, where, oh, they're rich, they're better, they're poor, they're bad. No, everyone's super conscious, you see? Everyone, when you rise to this level, you look at everyone as super conscious creators of their own being, and you just go, wow, we're all it. You see that? And there is no this is better than this is worse or anything. It's just look what we get to create. And that's the journey. That's the journey that I'm wanting to take you on and wanting you to be on. How does that sound? Sound like a good move? Yeah. I think it's a good move. So you must catch yourself. You must catch yourself. in these ideas of what is good and what is bad. Now, you can catch yourself in either way, because if you're deciding that something is better, you pick up one end of something, you pick up the other end. So if you're deciding that something is better, then you're deciding that something is worse. If you can't accept something as reality, you're fighting it and you're giving it power. You're not accepting that you're bigger than it. See, whenever you're fighting something, you're not accepting you're the bigger creator. You see, and when you truly accept that, you realize, well, this is my current reality, and I'm going to be my fullest expression right now with what I've got. And what happens is the magic happens. Then that's when the magic happens, and it's not for you to work out how. Our scientific left brain always wants to try to work out how. Well, how does that happen? How does that happen? I don't know. I don't really know. I don't really know how everything works or how the sun was made. I don't really know. I guess that there was a big bang, and I guess. We don't need to know. That's the truth, because the knowing, the needing to know literally or logically is coming from the wrong place. So we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into what is good and what is bad for you. Does this sound good? Does it sound good? Cool. So grab yourself a pen and paper if you like, or a note section on your phone, or if you just want to do it mentally, that's fine too. Or you can use the chat box here. Doesn't matter, but writing it is definitely the best. So I want to ask, a little bit of a difficult question, but I think it'll be easy for most of you. Growing up in your household, what was good? Define what was good, what was praised, or what was not punished. What's good? Growing up, what was good? What was good? And think about that question. What was good? What was good? Tune back into what was good. What got a lack of pain or gained some pleasure? What got attention? What was good? Really, just maybe even close your eyes and go, yeah, what was good for Dad? What did I have to be? What was good? Well, I couldn't do anything. I didn't know him. I didn't know what. That I don't know, maybe. Or I had to be this way. What's good for Dad? What did you have to do to avoid any sort of punishment? And it's okay for you to write you don't know. Sometimes we get caught in just this search. Well, I don't actually know what was good. I don't know what it was. And then feel into that. What was good? What was good? What was good for Mum? What was good for her? If you were to be good in her eyes, how did you have to be? Yeah, it was more about what her mum thought. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's it. So sometimes we realize, well, what was to be good to Mum was to lie to the world, to pretend. It's a funny one, isn't it? It's like I had to put on a good face no matter what, which actually meant it was better to lie than to admit pain. So what was good? And then for you, what did you decide was being good? What did you decide that was being good? See, some of us don't realize that, to actually get attention. Now what did I have to do to get attention? If I had a problem, I got attention from my dad or my mother. If I had something wrong, yeah, it's always an interesting one. So just think about that for a second. What was defined as good for you, and also for you, because you and your siblings likely didn't all get the same what was good. Okay, so also what was good for you, your own choice. Yeah. Great. Okay. Awesome. All right. Good stuff. Okay. So the other side of it is, so what was bad? What was punished? What lost attention? What was bad? Embarrassing them, bad. Wasting money, bad. What was bad? What was bad? What was bad? And just tune into it. What was bad for me growing up? Yeah. Yeah. What was bad? For me, saying you couldn't do something was bad. I had it drilled into me. It's done can. It's not done can't. Not allowed to say can't. It's just you're not allowed to say you can't do something. That's bad. Bad, bad, bad. What's bad? What's good? So what was bad for mum? Like, what would she consider that you're being bad? What would she ignore you, ridicule, tell you off, avoid? Or whoever played mum, whoever helped form you, hey? Mm. Existing, yeah. Sometimes it's like I felt like just being there was bad. I was like a pain for her. Yeah. Fair enough. What was bad for dad? What was bad? Embarrassing him. Yeah. Bothering him, yeah. Being weak, yeah. Being too strong. Interesting stuff you guys are typing. Didn't have a dad. Yep. So what was bad? Maybe what did you decide was bad about him not being there? Yeah, it was bad that I was around. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just allow yourself to experience that this is all chosen by you, and or nothing was bad. The masculine would never tell me off, which is actually interesting, isn't it? When the masculine that's supposed to create the rules for you isn't there. Well, nothing's bad. I can do whatever I want. Uh, that's not a good thing either. Yeah. Well, people might think that, oh, that's a good thing. No, it's not. No, it's not. Children need adults to tell them what is right and what is wrong, so that they learn how to be in society. You can't leave it up to children to figure it out. But many parents, they do just want their kids to be Peter Pan, you know, never grow up. Maybe because it's for them too. But anyway, we won't talk about that today. What is good and what is bad? Okay, so when you think about this, okay, can you all see how your focus on good and bad, it does shape your worldview, doesn't it? It doesn't it? And so I want to introduce this to you, and type it in is you can be safe or you can be strong. Hey, you can create safe or you can create strong. And so many of us go, oh, I wish I had someone else keeping me more safe. But if you're too safe, then you don't get any strength. You don't have to overcome anything. Does that make sense? If it's too safe, then you don't have anything that doesn't need to build any character. And there, that becomes a very unsafe adult. That becomes a very unsafe adult, isn't it? Isn't that true? Is if someone always had someone there keeping them safe, telling them what to do, look after them, protected, safe, and then when their parents are no longer there for them, that they're a very weak adult and they become an unsafe unsafe adult. They don't know how to be, and if there's something that's against them, that they'll buckle. So they become very unsafe if they don't learn. But then on the opposite side of that, too much creating someone strong ends up creating someone weak. Because if it's too hard and the child breaks because of the thing it has to overcome is too much, then as an adult they can't get over it. Does that make sense? So both don't work. Okay, so many people on this call had a horrendous thing come into their experience, and they weren't strong enough for it, and therefore they created a belief pattern about themselves. Hey, and then that belief pattern, they're still trying to figure out why did that happen, and why, and so they run away. They didn't. It was too much. You see. But others, who are protected, very, very safe, they get out to the world and they can't do anything. It's quite something. It's quite something. Quite something. So when you look at everything that you've had, we must acknowledge, and we're going to do a little process. I did this process on the Super Conscious Intuition call on Tuesday. Who was on that call? I did this process with Veronica on Tuesday. So those of you who are in the intuition program, we did that. So we're gonna do that process now, and the way that it works is by tuning in. I'm not doing this individually, Shannon. We're going to do it as a group. We always do recodes as a group, guys. Yeah. The way that it works is we tune into everyone involved in the process, and we observe them as their super conscious, as their perfect drop in the source field, as their divine self. We don't ignore that that there was a self-conscious version of them maybe doing something that wasn't quite right, but we just don't focus on that, including yourself. So we have this idea of good and bad, okay, and then we've made a decision about things that were bad and then things we must be, and this was usually created via upbringing. And usually the people in charge of the household created this idea of what is good and what is bad. And most of the time I meet adults still trying to resolve this. They're still trying to, all of us, including myself, still trying to resolve to be good and to not be bad. And so we must realize that this is this is not super conscious, and we're going to experience it. We're going to experience it. So does that sound good? Be a fun process. So it won't be using the recode commands. It will be done in a different way. Done in a different way. So if you were to think about everything that we've been talking about today, and you were to really decide, what with everything we've talked about, what is it that stops you the most in this conversation? Is it this idea of something that is really good that you must be, or is it the idea there's something you must really, really, really avoid? And I'd like you to write that down. What is the most important thing for you to avoid in life? What is the most important thing for you to avoid? What is that? What is that? Thanks for everyone typing in. Really appreciate you. So Janine, I'd say I needed to avoid being myself, right? And I didn't read out what you typed in because you did type it to me privately. But does that make sense? We'll just see. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. But that is it. That's what I, yeah. Awesome. And yeah, by the way, I try my best, everyone. If you do just type something into just panelists, that I try not to read it out. But I am human, and sometimes I don't see it all. And you don't have to type anything in either. So yeah, I do try my best. Okay, so that is it. Okay, so we'll do the process. So is everyone ready? Cool, cool. Cool. So we all got the thing that was bad. Nice. No name yet, Shannon. An inspired one. That's what it is at the moment. Okay, so close your eyes, everyone, and just tune into your heart. This isn't a recode. You don't need to give me any permission. I'm going to guide you through it. So just close your eyes. That's it. Please stop typing into the chat box. I'm not sure how you can do that through your eyelids. Please close your eyes and just imagine a moment in early childhood where you were really deciding that this is bad, and just imagine it. Just imagine it. And I'd like you just to imagine it. It might be true, it might be not. You might need to make it up. But I want you to imagine a moment in early childhood, and preferably before age 7. But you'll know the right time. It doesn't actually matter if you know the age. I just want you to imagine it. And just imagine all those involved. And you don't have to see anything. You're just going to follow my instructions. Imagine all those involved in creating this decision of what was bad and what is good. Just imagine all those involved, including yourself, maybe some siblings, family, friends, parents, or stand-in parents, whatever it is, all those involved. Might be multiple sets of parents, just all that are involved. Great. The first person I would like you to witness as a superconscious creator is the child version of yourself. So imagine seeing the child version of yourself and kind of get their attention by bending down and getting down to their level, and maybe you're down on both your knees, sitting on your heels, and you're looking at this small child version of you, and just imagine it. And as you look at this small child version of you, I just want you to see them as a superconscious genius. I want you just to acknowledge and view their creative energy, their divinity, just their absolute, just amazingness. I know that there's a self-conscious ego. We're just going to focus on the fact they're super conscious. And just feel and just witness them. Witness that small child as super conscious, as their complete highest self. Just take a moment to view them as this. They're a complete creator, trying to figure out how to be human. Just acknowledge that. Hold on. Staying with your eyes closed, just acknowledge them like that. And we're not denying that there's a self-conscious aspect. We're just observing from one perspective. So now I'd like you to observe your mother, or the feminine energy, whoever that is, it might be multiple humans. I'd like you to view them also as superconscious. View their divinity, not their dysfunction, not their self-conscious. View her superconscious. And stay down on your knees, sitting on your, just imagine yourself sitting on your knees, your bottom on your heels, and just look up at her and see that glow, that divine spark that's there. You might not have ever seen it before, but see that creative genius that is there. Whether or not she's living from it, that's a different question. Just view what is there. There is no way to diminish the fact that we all have a divine intelligence within us. So that's all I'm asking you to view her as. It doesn't deny any cruelty or misdeeds that have been made. Just acknowledge that she's super conscious and a creator. Trust me, follow the process. Connect with that part of her. You're doing great. Stick with the process. And now the masculine, the father, the masculine, whatever that means, multiple people, one person. I'd like you to view the masculine as superconscious, as a total creator. We're not ignoring the fact that there's been some human stuff, some maybe even some bad stuff. Hey, we're not ignoring that. We're simply just acknowledging that there's also a superconscious there. That's what we're acknowledging. And we're connecting with that part of the masculine, that there is superconscious there. Whether or not it's allowed to be seen, it's there. There's a divinity, there's a genius there, there's a divine spark. There it is. Connect with that and view him or them as that. That's it. And now anyone else involved, maybe some siblings, maybe friends, maybe a teacher, maybe other family members, maybe a perpetrator, maybe people at church, I don't know. Allow yourself one by one to acknowledge everyone as a superconscious genius, as a complete creator. Just acknowledge that. That's it. Just acknowledge them and see them as that. Beautiful. Okay. Beautiful. So just finish. Just stay with your eyes closed, but just finish by just acknowledging. Just put a circle in your mind around anyone else involved, and just view the whole structure. View the whole structure from a perspective of the superconscious. And as you do, connect to the superconscious of it all. What's really true here? Is this really defining what this young child needs to believe? These random collection of humans and their self-conscious perspectives on what is good and is bad. Is this really true? No, it's not true. From the superconscious perspective, what's true? What's true? Does this really define that little human, what these people have decided? Is it really need to define, 80, 90, 100 years of existence? What's really true? Ask your superconscious, what's really true? And once you've got the truth, what's the correct superconscious decision for this child? Yeah, there's no good and bad. That's it. It just is. With your eyes closed, once you really receive what's true and how powerful every individual is, including that child, once you truly realize the power, the divine power, the creative power, I'd like you to go back to the small child, the small version of you, look them in the eye and recognize the truth in their eye. And as you do this, just allow yourself to connect with them, merge into that small child with the truth. And from this perspective, from the small child's perspective, grow yourself older back to now with the truth. And then let me know. Let me know how that is. What's different? What's changed? Thanks, Edison. Thanks, Shannon. Powerful, more compassion. Tingling all over, goosebumps. We're all genius. Fierce. Freeing. Strong, confident, equal. Feels perfectly right. Confident, funny. Nice. Oh, love it. There's too many for me to keep up with all of the all of it. See the what our self-conscious considers bad, bad circumstances and conditions has happened to all of us, but none of it has touched, dented, blemished, or even scratched the fact that we're super conscious. And just because most of us grew up around adults living out of their ego constructs has nothing to do with the fact that they're not able to be super conscious, and has nothing to do with the fact that we need to define ourselves based on some rule structures created by two people living an unawoken life. You know? True. Yeah. See, we can spend a lifetime asking why. Why did dad leave me? Why did mom do this? Why? We can, but it's not going to be a great question. We don't know. Why did they hurt me? Why was this? Or we could rise to a super conscious and realize that, hey, from a super conscious perspective, everything just is. I love it, Dermot. Everything just is. You see? It's very nice, isn't it? Yeah, Anita, absolutely. They are doing them. Nasty people don't define you. They're doing them. They're also super conscious. They've just got something in their creation. You don't have to buy into it. Is it true? How is that? How is that? Yeah, nice, Rashada. Very nice. Good for you. Very nice. Yeah, good. And so here's what I would love you to take from today, because I think it was a good one, is good and bad don't exist in the field of the superconscious. You're here to have a human experience, which is to chase good and go away from bad. But if you can rise to the superconscious without this notion of good or bad, accept what is, you become powerful, not the thing you're trying to avoid or run to. As soon as you become powerful, the inevitable will happen. The inevitable. And the inevitable is you'll create a life you love. You'll create a life you love. Shannon asked me to repeat. You will. Life you love. Just kidding. When you rise to the level of the superconscious, you become it. And when you become it, you pull the power back. You pull the power back to you. You're not chasing good or trying to avoid bad or defining yourself about what is good or what is bad. You become it. When you become it, the power returns to you. And where you put the power is what will grow. When you and your superconscious are the powerful creator of your reality and you sit in the observer position, you go, oh, that's a very interesting creation. That's interesting. What am I going to create? You simply aren't fighting it because it doesn't deserve your energy. Other people's self-conscious egos creating misery or trying to go for good or bad doesn't pull you down to the level of self-consciousness. They can do it, and it just bounces off you. You rise up and you create from there. Makes sense? You rise up, and rise up doesn't really define up. You could also say in. We're just using up and down again because we're talking self-consciously, which are two aspects. It's not even really in or out. It's more of the next level of the fractal, which is neither in nor out. It's around, I guess, or something that our language doesn't have the ability to communicate. Awesome stuff, guys. Love you all so much. So it's a nice little process, hey? It's a nice process, and we made it up the other day with Veronica. So beautiful creation. Love you all. Have an absolutely amazing week. Look forward in the next few weeks for us to have this app out. We are going to be having some beta testers come in to help us. Please use the support email as much as you can. I've been told there is another time zone change happening in the UK. So our time isn't changing. So our times are going to stay the same. So if your time changes, you just got to change it by whatever happens in your time zone. Does that sound good? Our time will still be this. So if you all go forward an hour, well, that's what will happen. But we will do it. Yeah, thanks, Sarah. No, we do appreciate any support questions via the email, and we love all the encouragement and photos and testimonials and everything in the group. It's really good, but it's Facebook's not very easy to search. So if someone asks a question, it's very difficult for us to find it, even if we get tagged and re-find it. So we are creating a Magnet Mind app, which all the programs will be on very soon, and we think that's going to help us manage it a bit better. But yeah, please do email support, and if everyone else can just be on that, you see someone, oh, where's my logins, or what time is this session, or I need to update my payment, or whatever, just say, hey, the best place is to email. And then our team can get to it. So thanks. Have a great week. I'll see all my coaches in about 20 minutes for the Q&A session for the certification. Cool. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Good session. I loved it. Bye.